So if you guys are still around, I will come back. But
Solid. No problem.
Love you, Jade. Good luck.
Love you, Jade.
Thank you. Love you guys too.
Aw.
I'm here for another like minute.
All right. Cool.
We're saying it
Okay.
as long as I can.
I'm going to jump to the supports then with the alt planning and tracking. Would you guys be comfortable doing this? Would you rather not do it? Where are difficulties and shit arising here?
Alt planning.
Alt planning.
I feel like I'd sit there and be like, and then the fight happened.
You gotta be decisive. Even, like, here's the thing. Our comms are gonna be shit for a good while. But someday we're gonna get to the point where you are able to make decisions quickly and you are able to plan those ults really fast.
Yeah,
like, it's gonna be garbage. We have to accept that. Like,
that's fair.
I think part of this as well is we're at some point going to work on more like sort of I don't want to say rigidly, but established team comps.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So we'll already know
who's
the
doing what.
combinations that need to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be more of
when it's
when
going to
can
happen.
they happen because like EMP bomb is a great idea, but if we're like 50% on bomb and on EMP, we can't call for an EMP bomb. If that makes sense.
Jade.
Is there any benefit to like saying that the person who can call the aggro and all of the pathing and that stuff is flexible based on the comp and the game and who's there? Because like for example, like say for whatever reason it's me and Skelly, like she's main or I'm main or whatever, like Flower's sitting out that round, like I know I'm not ready to be doing that yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, like this is 100%.
So definitely like it would have to be flexible, like even, but there are some instances I think like certain strats and plays where you might want it to be someone like a DPS who has a high vantage point like a Widow to like be sort of like calling like, hey, you guys have a path here kind of a thing. So it depends on the map, right?
I'm just gonna say real quick before I go.
Yes.
I think I have no problem with ult planning. Ult tracking takes a lot of practice, but I think I understand what things, the combos that go together are pretty good. But I think it's all going to take practice.
100%. Goodbye, Jade.
Good luck, Jade. Bye.
You got this shit.
Love you guys. Bye.
I just want to like throw out there just a couple quick things. One, I think there are times, especially when it comes to target priority specifically, I think aggression level and pathing, you know, main tanks should be able to do that, and target priority main tank most of the time should be able to do that. But it also depends on the need for what am I trying to say here? The person who is engaging sometimes is not the main tank.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then the main tank can't be the target priority. Like so there are certain comps where an off tank is going to be engaging, or maybe even a DPS is going to be engaging, right? Like or Sombra might be saying, I'm hacking this person, and then that means we go for them, right? Like, so I think that one, there needs to be some flexibility. The second thing I would say, just to push back a little bit, not saying that we can't do whatever, but I think just from a standpoint, I don't think we need to. I think we should set this up to work in the ideal way that we want it to, rather than our own like abilities or comfort levels right now. Just because part of what we're doing in scrims and what we should be doing, it's not a tournament. We're practicing, right? We're getting better. Yeah. And I think the only way we get better is by doing some of that stuff little by little, knowing that it's not going to be done perfectly, and it might be done in a way that really creates some issue in that moment, but that's the idea of scrims is not to win, it's to get better.
This is inspirational.
So Flower, this is why I tell people, like, even if you're not comfortable even like playing hero, I just want you to try. That's what scrims are for, ladies. I just want you to try. Even if you're wrong, I don't care. Like, you could be like, Soldier has ult. Well, guess what? He just ulted like 2 minutes ago, and he's only at like 10%, and you're so wrong. But I don't care. The point is, you try. You know, you get what I'm saying?
Imagine halting 2 minutes ago and only being at 10% alt.
Swap just 3 different characters and then go back to Soldier for that.
Yeah. But yes, 100%. Dia, this is like interchangeable. The comps do depend on what's happening. This is just going to be like a rough guideline as to like, if we don't know, this is going to be who's doing it.
Yeah, and there's also one thing to just throw out there is there's a difference between calling these things and suggesting these things. Now,
Yeah.
I think part of the issue we have is that everyone suggests things, so it's an issue, but you know, certain roles like main tank, off tank, right? Sometimes I'm with a Zarya, right? And my Zarya will say, you can push up, I have bubble, right? And then I'll say, I'm pushing up, right? And so the Zarya actually like kind of called for the push up, but I confirmed that we were going to like sort of do that as the main tank, or vice versa. Like if I'm a Zarya, I'll tell my Ryan, hey, push up. Or we can push up here, I have bubble, right? And sometimes one thing that's really helpful for me, I think you've seen Owl play with me as a healer, is when I'm on front lines, like swinging my hammer or whatever, like Owl will be like, they have 2 picks, our backline's dead, we need to back up Ryan. And I'll say, okay, backing up, right? So I don't think it always means that that person has to completely manage that situation, but it's maybe more who confirms and makes the decision in the moment. It's about the decision being made rather than the suggestion of it.
Exactly. Like a lot of this is going to be team shit. Like if the main tank is calling to push left side and there's like a huge environmental hazard and they have like in, I don't know, an Orisa, a Hog, a Lucio, a Pharah, a Doomfist, and a Brig, then like maybe pushing that way isn't the best for our squishies, who can get knocked in there super easily. And like by all means feel free to say no, fuck you, Flower, play let's go a different way.
If anyone says it like that, I will kick you and bench you from the gym.
No, but like, do you guys get where I'm coming from with that one? Like you were 100% right, Flower. It is more so the confirmation. At the end of the day, like, if fucking a Moon decides to call the clear comms, or like if Jade is like, let's path this way, I'm not gonna be like, hey, don't do that. Like, this is basically like, I want you guys to try to sort this out as to like who will primarily be doing it.
And because like a classic example of this is when we come to target priority, right? I'm not going to be the one to say this person's hacked. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or, this person's half. I'll say sometimes I'll be like, I'm attacking this person, or we should let's focus down this person, kill this person, say their name or whatever.
This person's frozen.
But you know, there's helpful information in that, right? Saying this person's half. Like, I might not see that, right? As like a main tank, or the main tank might not see that. But having that information can then say, the main tank can then say, okay, focus that person, right? Or no, focus this person, right? And that, I think that's where we get a little lost, is we sometimes take information being given and suggestions being given as a decision being made. And it's more about, we have to have decisions made, and knowing that, again, there might be times where, you know, the main tank or main support, whoever's making the call, right, makes the wrong call, and the DPS's suggestion or whoever's suggestion was right, and it's probably better for us for practice just to still go with what we think might be the wrong call in the moment for the sake of cohesion, and then look at it back and go, oops, that wasn't a good idea. How do we learn from it? How do we make the right call next time?
So, one person making a stupid choice is throwing. 2 people making a stupid choice is a plan, and 6 people making a stupid choice is a strategy. So I would rather see all 6 of you going for a stupid play than Flower being like, I'm gonna try to fire strike the Pharah out of the sky, she's our target, everyone, and having everybody shoot at a different target. I would rather see you all shoot at that Pharah. Yeah.
When I was trying out for tank on this team, that is exactly what Warden told me when he was coaching me.
It's true.
He would rather see the whole team follow the tank into a stupid decision than the tank just
Because that's what works.
Exactly.
At this level, at the level we're at, doesn't matter if it's a stupid decision. If we do it all together, we will win. Like
Exactly.
100%
And
of the time.
no, but like it's so
literally, like,
true.
if we focus the target and it's completely wrong, that target's gonna die, with the exception of them having like an escape ability, I guess.
Exactly. But like 6 people shooting at 6 different people, you're gonna have a bit of a hard fucking time unless you're a fucking one-shot hero. But like 6 people shooting at one person, that one person better be deleted in like 0.0 seconds. Like that person, you guys better look at that person, and I want them to keel over.
This actually came up. So I've watched our scrims, all of our scrims, about 3 times now from our last one, and there one that really was calling out to me was where we were having different comms on. There was one point, it was Nepal Shrine, I think it's called, the one that has stairs.
Yeah.
And there were several times where I was calling one target and I think Light was calling another, right? And I remember there being one where it was like Reaper's half or Reaper's hack to focus him, and I was like, there's this Moira, focus her. And literally neither of them died, and like the Moira escaped with like literal 1 health, and the Reaper like was able to like get out because I wasn't focused. Like but if we had just focused one or the other, even if we picked the wrong one, even if it was the Reaper that was probably the right one to kill, or the Moira that was the right one to kill, one of them being dead is better than neither of them being dead.
Exactly.
But I think that's something that this team also has to work on, is knowing who you're in a position, like where you are and who's in a position to die where you're able to kill them. Because like I know, like I've been in a position a million times where a target gets called and I'm across on the other side of the fight and I don't have an easy way to get to them. So
this is gonna come down to like you guys communicating your positions, whether you are able to go in on this, because if you're going to be going sicko on a person and you're not ready to go sicko, you gotta tell that. Because like that means that your team is going into a 5v6 if you're not ready to roll. So
I also think this gets to a greater sort of thing where in my mind that is a I don't know how to say this. I'm sorry. I'm really feedback based, and I see it as like improvement, but I also realize that like sometimes it sounds, I'll say something and it sounds like harsh, but it's just like a really hyperlogical way. But the point being is, I think it's like a failure on both of our parts in those instances, right? It's a failure on my part for not knowing that you're ready to engage on something, and it's a like, I don't want to say like there's room for improvement.
No, it's it's a failure on my part for me not communicating that.
Yeah. So like the DPS's job is to be in a position to focus on the targets that a main tank will call, and the main tank's job is to know that the DPS is ready or not to do that when choosing an engagement on that target.
Exactly, and this is going to come down to that communication level, is because like it's not so much a failure. Like, don't consider this stuff a failure. No, I get you.
That's what I'm trying to communicate. Like,
I get.
It's a way to change.
But it is definitely something that once we start working this out and getting that back and forth communication, it will help a lot. Because like there have been a couple times where more than a couple times where I've seen you guys go into like 5v6 situations because one of your DPS wasn't ready, one of your supports wasn't ready, your tanks had no fucking cooldowns, and one of the DPS was like, I hacked someone, or like that person's half, and your tanks are like, and then they try to make a play with half health and no shield and no cooldowns. Simply communicating that, like, it doesn't really sound like much, but being like, I'm not ready is awesome. And like it's that short. You can, if you want to be like super strict about it, you can be like, give me 6 seconds, and like that's how long you better fucking be there for. Or you better be ready in 6 seconds. But let's start with simply just, I'm not ready. Because especially in dive comps, if one dive person isn't ready, your dive is done.
I think a good I think extension to that is to say, I can't get there.
Yes, that's a huge one too.
Because like I was like when I was talking about like I'm on one side of the fight, the target being called is on the other. Like, you know, sometimes as a flanker, like you just can't.
True.
Or sometimes like you've used movement abilities to get to the flank side of the fight,
Mm-hmm.
and now you don't have any to get back when the target's called. So I think like saying like I can't get there when that target is called, it would help with your like just the team knowing, okay, we don't have, you know, this resource to help us with that specific person.
Yeah.
And I think the caveat with that, I think that's exactly right. And the caveat with that is knowing that someone saying I can't get there does not mean we're not doing it. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
What it means is that I, as the main tank, or whoever's making this decision about the target priority, when I hear that, I say, okay, we're still going, or or actually, really, the assumption should be that we're still going, and I'd say, okay, back off, right? Like that's a piece of information in the puzzle, because the truth is, like, if 5 of us are targeting someone, it doesn't matter if the DPS
Yeah,
is
exactly.
that person's still gonna die.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if 3 people are targeting a person, they're gonna die. If 2 people, they're probably gonna die. Like
A very
so
powerful call out that you can make, and like it shouldn't be used all the time, is literally just wait. Because if a person hears wait, 9 times out of 10, whether you like intend to or not, you're going to hesitate. And like that is going to make you pause. And that could be all the difference your team needs from running into a 4v6 or a 5v6 and not, is that moment of hesitation. So like if a tracer's like fucking 1 blink away from getting to the fight and the team's like, I'm gonna push in right now, the tracer just goes, wait, okay, and then you're good. And like this is stuff that we're going to work on. This is stuff that you guys need to figure out what works well. I'm just telling you what I've seen and what I believe works well. At the end of the day, everybody is different. Like I know for a fact when I play tank, I cannot call target priority. I can call abilities, I can call alts, and I can call pathing and shit. Cannot call target ability. So I need somebody when I play to do that. Like I said, everybody's different. So, kind of getting back on topic here, for the target priority, who would like to kind of step up on that one? I would prefer one of the tanks, but at the end of the day, like if we want to get like a primary like DPS to call it, then like we can absolutely do that too.
So I think it should be the main tank, and I think if there are deficits in that, then I want to work to address those as main tank, and I think anyone who is main tank should do the same. The reason because main tanks are different than most other heroes in the game, in that they tend to lack easy escape abilities once engaged or in spots. Like they lack higher mobility or those like sort of things that would allow somebody to leave a situation. So they're a person that they can't, if someone else makes a call to do something different, they might not actually be able to, whereas other heroes are in better positions to do so. So I think it should be main tank in general, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we can 100% do that. Does anybody... Okay, looking at this list, I'm not sure how fucking clear it is for you guys, so I will make it large. Does anybody have any issues with this being our... Not in stone... Like, I would like to stress that this is flexible depending on the comp and who's fucking playing. But this is going to be what we will try to strive for. So we have Ari doing the clear comms call. Pathing is going to be primarily the tanks. Aggression level, main tank, and main support, kind of getting a back and forth there. Target priority, main tank. Alt planning, Jade. Alt tracking, Moon. Chicky, you'll fill wherever you're subbing in for, basically. So is that...
Hey!
Does anybody hate this?
I don't hate it, but I have another suggestion to add to it.
Absolutely.
Just like we talk about, like when we're tracking something, typically like pick a role or pick someone on the other team and track them. Maybe when we go into fights or when we go into scrims, identify on the other team who is going to be your opposite and try and keep track of them as best as you can.
Oh yeah, sorry.
100%.
That actually reminds me that is something. For alt tracking, I know that it's like main support is like someone who often tracks alts in general, and I think on a macro level that helps. But you said this earlier, and I think it's really true. Typically, we are best at tracking the alts of someone who is in the same role as us, right? So I feel like low key it actually should be ults are tracked by like on a macro level by like Moon or by the support, like however we want to say that. But on a more micro level, like I don't really expect somebody to know when a Reinhardt is going to shatter as well as I'm going to know when a Reinhardt's going to shatter. One, because I play Reinhardt probably more, and two, because I'm in his space and I'm watching my ult charge and I've known how many times he's swung in a way as well. So I feel like, yeah, tracking your role, and then like same thing with like DPS. Like there might be a fight with DPS going on behind me or something, and I have no idea that the Reaper is like really getting his ult charge up.
I have a suggestion for that.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm ult tracking and I'm saying these guys have ults or whatever, and if you think I'm wrong, or like you're watching the Ryan and you're like, there's no way he has ult, or like if I say no, I don't think he has his ult, correct me and be like, no, he's been doing work.
Yeah. So a big thing with this, with like alt tracking and alt planning, it's going to be a bit more of a conversation because you're going to be doing this like in the pre-fight phase. You're going to have a little bit of a little bit of leeway to not be stressing too much. So it's mostly going to be Moon kind of like starting the conversation, and then like we as a team, by tracking our roles and shit, will be like, okay, this is probably what they have. Moon, you can make the best guesstimate that you have.
Yeah, I can like start off with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just getting the ball rolling is all I really want with it. So
one caveat to some of the ones above in terms of abilities and ults. I don't know if we have it on here, but usage is there. So I'm going to shatter, or I'm gonna grab this, or I see a grab, or I'm going to purple, like I'm gonna anti them, or like those sort of things. I think like our usage of it is also really helpful, specifically before you do it, so that people can be ready. Because like when I hear I'm going to grab, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get really close to the team so I can start whacking them, or like, you know, however it might be. I think that, yeah, announcing usage is helpful, because like there will be times where like you as a character will see that your ult be used like on a general level. Ult planning, we're going to use this fight, yes, but I don't think it would be a reasonable expectation to have like Jade being like, okay, now shatter.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just basically like at the end of the day, like if you have 6 ults, Jade can be like, fucking, we're gonna nano blade this fight, and like you guys nano blade. But if it doesn't work out too well, that doesn't mean you're committed to only using those 2 ults. Like if you see a thick shatter opportunity, or like it's time to Valk, then like just announce that you're doing it and do it.
They do it, right? Like if so, an example of that might be we have all these plans and we're not going to shatter, and then I see a nano blade coming at us, and I see an opportunity to shatter nano blade, then you know, that, I think that can work too. And then I think there's also, it's just like in general, like we talk about nano blade, and maybe this is a higher level sort of thing, not higher level, but maybe a different conversation. Different people, when we use all combos, there's always a person who essentially initiates it, and there's a person who does it, right? Like grab dragons, the Hanzo shouldn't be like, okay, grab now, I'm gonna dragon, right? It's the Zarya saying, I'm gonna grab this, it's grab, and then the dragon.
And then
out, right?
typically, yeah, it typically.
Be like, sorry.
Yeah,
I was gonna follow that with saying like it's good to call out too when those ults like grab when you catch like a bunch of people, or even like planning ahead of that, knowing how they can counter your ults, like a Baptiste immortality field, like plan, okay, we're gonna bait out immortality, we're gonna grab, we're gonna dragon.
And I think that this is one of the things that this is also like a comms thing, but I think it's something that we can stand to gain a lot of advantage on other teams on if we're able to sort of master it. One of the things we do, again, this is like sort of a multifaceted problem, but I think the thing that we can improve on is looking at fights as fights, right? Rather than having it be like kind of one long fight where we're like trickling in and like doing all this other stuff and panicking and reacting. Instead, actually having intentional approaches to fights. And in addition to that, part of that process is in between fights, we talk about what's going to happen in the next fight, right? And
Yeah.
I think that we do that some, but honestly, like Jade is kind of the person I usually, one of the only people I kind of hear consistently being like, okay, they're probably going to use this in this next fight. We should use this in this fight, sort of thing, right? And or like, it's important in general fights. It's super important to dive, right? Because once we win a dive, we immediately need to be setting up for the next dive because we can't, like, holding space in a dive is very different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that kind of communication is really helpful too. And I think in that time we have an option to make those decisions too as a team, right? So when we're saying let's use grab dragons next fight or something, and then someone might say we should save grab for nano.
Yeah.
And someone be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, and then we do that instead, because one person can't, like with any of these things, one person can't just be responsible for fully making those decisions.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
There should be one person who can make those decisions, and I would err on the side of Jade being able to say, no, let's grab dragons. And we're able to do that sort of thing. To have that established amount of like priority with it. But yeah, sorry, it's a lot of words.
It's all good. We're chilling. I forgot to put this one in. Literally just the enemy abilities is going to be everybody calling it out. I don't really... Like, there's so much shit going on, and nobody's going to be able to see literally everything, so, like, it's a team thing. And you guys got to take that. As the people who are calling the targets and the aggression level, you guys have to take into consideration what abilities have been used.
And I think, I think what's important here is that these are distinct, right? I think this is something that happens sometimes. We hear enemy abilities or events, and then we assume that means that target prioritization is switching with that, right? Like,
yeah, so
this person won, and everyone starts attacking that, or some people start to try to attack it or not. Like, one is, I guess, different. If you're near the person, just kill them. But, like...
So, it kind of comes down...
The same thing, sorry.
Exactly. And how I would like to try to solve that is it would basically be... It's a pretty simple fix. It required fucking 0.4 seconds for me to come up with. Is literally just saying target this person. And, like, rather than... And, like, so if you hear somebody say target this person, you target that person. But, like, if you hear somebody say Genji no dash, fucking Tracer no recall, Moira no sleep, or fucking Ana no sleep, if you don't hear target this person, leave it. Acknowledge that it happened, but leave it. Like I said, this isn't anything set in stone. Like, what do you guys think about that? Do you guys think it would help? Because, like, I know there's a lot of information that comes in towards, like, in the middle of a fight, and we have to figure out some way to distinguish an informational call, like an ability being used, and we are targeting this person now.
I think that makes sense. I think in my mind at least, the one like sort of exception to that is if we aren't already in the process of like really hard targeting someone, and you know as a hero that when you see that thing happen, you yourself with no one else's help could kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Oh yeah.
I think if you see like a Moira run by you and run, and you're like, well, we didn't say we were attacking the Moiras. So
oh yeah. Yeah. You win this round, Moira.
You're lucky my Reinhardt wasn't looking at you.
Yeah. But yeah, like, again, just kind of like a general rule of thumb. Like, of course, there are going to be exceptions to everything that's on here. But, like, general... fucking... This is what's I would like to try to enforce, is target the people that are being called as targets. If you see a Moira running past you that is one, kill her. Or say target Moira or something. Because, like, literally, if you say target Moira, everybody looks at Moira, Moira dies. That's, like, fucking half a second confirming that kill, and then you move on to the next person. You're still in a 6v5.
I'm thinking about the way the exceptions to it would be, like, go ahead and do it. The exceptions would be, or the questions to ask yourself before doing it is, can you do this without anyone's help?
Yeah.
And is there another call that is made that this would interfere with?
Yeah.
Right? So if someone says, target this person, everyone's focusing it, and you're like, no, I'm going to go kill the Moira. I guess we get that judgment as we go on and we learn our roles a little bit more and we learn our team roles, because to make that call as like a single person, you not only have to know that you can kill that person, but you also have to know that your team can do the thing they're trying to do without your help.
Yeah.
And so it's probably better on the start of it to just like not run that risk and instead just do what the team call is.
100%. As we get more comfortable and like once we get that team synergy, you'll be able to like somewhat predict what your main tank is going to do. So like if you're an Anna and you see your Reinhardt is fucking standing there, you know your Reinhardt has shatter, your Reinhardt's super prone to shattering fucking when they're low health. Maybe don't kill that Moira, just let her fucking live and keep your Reinhardt up instead. And like once you get that synergy and you get to know each other's play styles, you will learn what you can and cannot do in terms of plays. But the big thing is that you have to be communicating this sort of stuff. Even if it's literally just fucking, I killed Moira. Or Moira dead is ideal. Cool. We'll take it. Does that... Any questions on that one? Cool. Okay. Sweet. Okay, so we have typically what are good callouts. We have stuff that we would like to work on, i.e. target priority is something that we are going to 100% work on. Alts is something that if you guys would like at first in the mid-fight or like in this early phase of us learning to comm, in between fights I could ask you what the alts are, and just to get that conversation going. It is like completely up to you guys. If you want to do it yourselves, go for it. But like do realize that I will eventually not be able to sit there and be like, okay team, what else do we have? Everybody grab the skipping rope and make sure that you stay close to Warden.
I'd say the suggestion I would make is this structure that we're talking about now is not going to be instantaneous.
Yeah, oh,
It's
fucking...
work and practice to get to.
Yeah.
And so calling out alts is part of this structure, but tracking alts themselves is sort of a separate thing that fits into this thing. And I would suggest that while that is a vital part of getting better as a team, maybe it's not something that we need to be like hammering while we're working out comms. Like once we get our comms a little bit better, then maybe really hammering tracking alts and like those sort of things would be helpful.
Yeah, true.
Right?
That's true. We could definitely do that. I could hold off on doing that. Like this is, like you said, this is by no means going to be a congratulations. We are now Overwatch League level comsters. It's going to take time. Like comms take a lot of fucking time to do. Like one of the teams that I was on, we did a comms review every week for like a month, and our comms were still fucking garbage. But like we did get better. All I'm trying to say is that like it takes time. So last bit here is just some call out examples. We've been making them the entire fucking time of this like review. So the typical call out format, and of course like everything here is subject to change, is location, hero, and that hero status. And this is if you're making a call out on an enemy or like on yourself basically. I fucking got those reversed.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
I was like, left.
Yeah, my bad.
Whoa.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so typically you're going to be calling the hero name, whether that's you or an enemy, where they are, and why you're calling them out. So if the Genji just used dash to the right, Genji right side, no dash. Fucking monkey on me, killing me would be the status. Even if you're literally just saying what they're doing. Like, if there's a Widow resetting top right, just call it out. Even if she's not fucking killing anything.
I think there are times too where it's like that isn't even as like I personally rather than like a healer trying to communicate or a support trying to communicate, monkey is diving me, someone help.
Yeah.
If I just hear help behind payload, like
Yeah.
Anna needs help behind payload, like I'll figure it out when I see the monkey attacking. Right?
Very true.
Like that's an instance where like getting to the situation is significantly more important than really fully knowing what's going on until you're there.
Yeah.
When having like short communication.
100%. So, it obviously doesn't need to be, like, there doesn't always need to be a location call. Like, if fucking, what's a good example here? There's a Ryan Zarya. Zarya just used her friendly bubble. You don't have to be like, Zarya friendly bubble right in front of me, because basically everybody is going to know where that Zarya is. If you don't see a Reinhardt, please find that Reinhardt. For the love of God, find that Reinhardt.
I'm sorry, but like, I am still traumatized by the amount of flank shatters that I've witnessed.
Dude, imagine sitting in my shoes. I watch these happen. I watch them set them up, and then I just watch you guys run in, and I watch you guys like stare down the Zarya and the rest of the team, and you're like, wow, we're gonna win this fight. And then typically, like, the Reinhardt will typically like start the shatter like while he's still in the air, so I'll hear the hammer, and then there's just a moment of pause, and like the world falls silent, the team falls silent, and then the hammer hits the ground.
Go!
Yeah.
And then we're like, that's unlucky. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. Exactly. So something okay, that actually it like makes me think of something. If you have no fucking idea where a person is, where is Ryan? Is
Can we
a
have another 5 question marks, please?
Some exclamation points.
yes.
Okay. More than one, please.
More than one.
Can I officially be on the where is Ryan duty?
Yes.
Can that be my job?
100%. And we're
Great. My only question, you guys, is gonna be where the fuck is Ryan?
they're not even gonna have a Ryan, and Chicky's gonna be like, "Where's Ryan?"
So yeah, I was reviewing that sort of thing, and I was actually reviewing it with a person who's like connected me with a top 10 tank.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, so I've been talking with him, and he was like, "Why did you lose track of the Reinhardt? That is your job as Reinhardt." And I was like, "You're right. I should know where the fuck
That's there.
Yeah, with the
I'll
exception.
be there to remind you and be like, hey man, where the fuck is this Ryan?
It's just like,
I'll be
yeah,
like,
you
great question.
got me there.
And if he's behind you, I think it's appropriate. You can just say, instead of saying Ryan behind, he's gonna shatter. He shatters. But
Yeah,
you should say,
100%.
Blank heart. Blank heart.
Or just
Solid.
You see our entire team part. Like,
But yeah, I think there are some call outs there. You know, ones like they have shatter, don't line up. That's like one of them too, like a positioning sort of thing. Or they have, you know, grab, don't grab. I don't know why I'm like in Ryan Zarya land in my brain. But,
It's a tank thing. It happens.
yeah. So, but yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I also this is maybe I'm wrong here, Warden. I don't actually know and I have like a tank centric view, obviously. But
Hell yeah, no
when we're
problem.
talking about like communication, it's my understanding that like the main tank and off tank should probably be the two people talking the most.
Yeah.
Because their synergy with each other is more important than pretty much any, like all the synergies are
Wow.
important, but their synergy is like super important for both of their
Okay,
styles.
very, very true. It is typically going to be the main and off tank that talk the most. Primarily, the people who are going to be calling cooldowns are going to be the fucking, like, Ari, what do you play? DPS? It's going to be the DPS,
Yeah.
and the fucking supports are primarily going to be calling the fucking alts. Like, because the DPS are 9 times out of 10 going to be the one forcing abilities, they're going to be the ones seeing abilities. Because, like, Reinhardt standing there with his shield up isn't as intimidating as a Reaper blasting you in the face. So, like, that Reaper is going to be forcing an ability more than the Reinhardt is. But 100%, like, in terms of, like, pushing forward, like, target fucking prioritization, and, like, this is always going to be changing. Where you're going, when you're going, how fast you're going, that's going to be the tanks. And, like, it's a lot of shit to be talking about. Which is why, primarily, fucking main tank is the... In most cases, main tank is the in-game leader. We don't really have one of those, like, everybody's kind of just... Well, like, people have kind of, like, slipped into the roles of, like, in-game leaders, and, like, we have not.
That kind of thing?
Should we? We definitely
I mean, it's
can.
kind of established through what the call-outs
Exactly.
Like, who's making the call-outs, right? But yeah, I think because aggression level is like I'd say like I don't know, like 80% of the leading quote unquote is aggression level, right? Like
Yeah.
we're pushing on this or we're not, and then like maybe like 60%, and like 20 or 30% is target priority or something. But
Yeah.
I think there's one thing about the call out examples that I think would be good for us to suss out is we say things like top right, but we need to have a relative point of what that means.
Okay,
Right? Because top
true.
right for you might be different.
Yes.
It's usually based on the objective, right? Sorry.
I usually see it as like stage left, stage right. So wherever you're spawned out of, left will always be coming out of the spawn.
I'm not trying to interrupt, but that reminds me. A long time ago, I made note cards on like callouts for when our last coach was on Eris, and like what the areas are called. If you guys want, I can find them and link them, and we can use that.
Yes,
If
please.
I can't find them, I can make them again.
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful. And maybe, I don't know, I tried to look up one time. I think there's like a cheat sheet of names for stuff, right? So like, Zarya no friendly, right? It's not Zarya doesn't have her
Friendly bubble.
I hear it as like Zarya no team usually, but
Yeah.
I say
friendly
ally.
works fine. But like a thing I'll say is Zarya no self. Honestly, because like calling out Zarya doesn't have a team bubble is like it's important for some abilities, but it's usually the most important thing is that she doesn't have a self bubble, because that means you can kill her. But that's a side note. Because the Zarya no friendly, like she might have her friendly bubble, but she might not be in a position to actually put it there.
Zarya no friendly is Zarya no friendly is typically a sign that you can go aggro on a tank or a backliner if you're running dive, because there's no escape. You can't escape the fate.
Or like there's like Arisa no gold.
Ouch. Yeah.
So I hear it as gold. I know other people will say fortify. Say fortify.
Yeah. 100%. Like, at the end of the day, regardless if you say Zarya no friendly, Zarya no team, Zarya no ally, people will get it. Or like, fucking Anna no.
Reaper. If you say Reaper no fade, I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, he doesn't have that ability. It's called Wraith Form.
Yeah, exactly. And then we all beat up Flower.
Bop your ass into the
It's like, no
Ilios
duh,
belt,
he
like,
doesn't have
smooth.
fade.
Yeah, that's not even a Reaper ability. Reaper no soul
Or
orbs.
Genji no reflect.
Oh my
it's
god, soul
deflect?
orbs.
Fucking
That's
That's
old.
old.
throwback.
Soul orb coming at me.
Yeah. However, yes, like there are terms, multiple terms for basically fucking everything in this game. And if you guys want, so how we want to do this in terms of like locations is up to you guys. Like typically how I do it is if I know the location, I will say the name of it. If I don't, I will do the best example I can. But when I do callouts, I do it in relativity to the way my front line is facing. So like if I'm on support and our fucking Reinhardt is, for whatever reason, he is turned around looking at me and there is a Genji to his right, I will be calling Genji right because I want the front line to know what's happening. At the end of the day, it is up to you guys. I know there's a fucking Reddit post out there somewhere that has like all the fucking call outs. I can see if we can find that and we can like just bounce.
Make a suggestion.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I'm like so much here. But I think one of the things we can do too is we establish like sort of this stuff here now and we're able to practice it, but probably in each of our like respective pods, like we can talk about more specific things.
Yeah.
Like and maybe having like a commitment that like in each of our pods we'll have a follow-up session to talk just about communication as your roles.
Yeah,
as well
100%.
would be helpful. Okay.
Yeah, we will definitely do that. I can talk to Hasbin and Light about doing that for the DPS and the support there. And kind of like focus on comms between them. Tanks, I will sit down with you.
I also have a question. So there will be times I'm trying to get better at it, but it still happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially when we're in like the middle of a brawl or a fight,
Mhm.
that like it's like a ball, like everything's happening there. It's not like a spread out fight or something.
Yeah.
Instead of saying like Zarya won, I'll say Zarya.
That's fine. Like at the end of the day, so long as it gets people to look at them, I don't give a fuck what you call. You could go fucking moon pie dumplings if it means that people look at the fucking Zarya.
Okay.
Like, so long as the team can make a good estimate of what you're trying to get across, go for it.
Flower, not gonna lie, we've had sessions where people have said when we've been focusing on target priority, where we've had them say, just say their name over and over and over. Like,
Yeah.
That's I think I like a high comp at least. Like that's what they do. They'll be like Zarya's one, or they'll just be like Zarya. Like,
Exactly.
And I think in the moment sometimes it's hard to like find the words of like, well, they're not technically one, and they're like, whoa.
Zarya 3/4 health.
Zarya.
7/8.
I think that goes too with like, I think we can say target tank or target this person. I know for me, I'm probably gonna say kill Zarya.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the idea of like keeping it short. Other things.
Just
I
get the
think would
idea
be-
across. Yeah.
I don't know if maybe we're getting to this or not,
Yeah.
but I think it's maybe helpful to talk about closed loop communication, and also helpful to talk about repeating. Now, like, I don't think everything needs to be repeated or repeated multiple times, but super important
Echoing?
things should be repeated. Yeah, like either echoing or even just the person saying it. Like, right, I usually would say, like, if I say kill Zarya, I usually won't say myself, at least. I won't say kill Zarya. I'll say kill Zarya. Or maybe even like 3 times, or sorry. Like, I think repeating because, it's comms, there's a lot going on. Sometimes you don't hear it in the moment. And I think repeating that is important. And then, but at the same time, like, when I say kill Zarya, do I have to hear 5 people say confirmed? Like, maybe not. But
Maybe that would be like an important thing for DPS to work on then. Like, if you hear like a confirmation that we're gonna go on Zarya from your DPS, maybe would do you think be helpful?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think that would be something that could be helpful. And I think like, yeah, there's certain things that are closed loop, and there are also certain things that part of this is that planning stage again, because one of the things that I think we some do a little bit, but we probably could do a lot more, is planning around their comp and what they're plausibly going to do. Right? We know their Winston is going to jump on our backline. We know their ball is going to roll right fucking through. And so assigning roles in that time of like, when this happens, Reaper, head back and kill the Winston. Or do this sort of thing. Because another thing that sort of happens sometimes, especially happens with fucking ball, in most comps, but for us especially, everyone will fucking just turn around and start chasing the thing down. And it means that like somebody gets left somewhere they shouldn't, and then they die, or we give up space that we shouldn't. And so I think having, having the pre-established person who's going to do it, and having that person say something. So Winston behind, and then the Reaper says, "I'm on it." Right? I think that's a helpful.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's a good call.
Right.
Acknowledging a call
when it's directed specifically at you, and I think honestly in our like, it's like a bystander intervention thing or whatever, but like I think that in an ideal world, if we had pre-established roles, it would be Winston on me, Reaper help. Like we're specifically, or if it isn't there, and what I can try to do as well is I keep an eye out of the comp, and I can say, if we don't have a plan, I'm happy to like in the moment say Reaper fall back, or the Reaper can say I'm falling back to go do this.
Yeah.
Those things are fine, but I think we do need a plan, because that sometimes will happen, and I notice this happens a lot with supports. With us is like you all are getting dove on, and either the entire team comes back to help you, or nobody comes back to help you.
Yeah, so
and both of those scenarios are bad.
Having that communication and like acknowledging the call-outs that are being made will definitely help, whether that's the tanks delegating who's gonna go fucking deal with it, or the fucking DPS going to deal with it. Like, so long as the movement is communicated, and that kind of goes into the whole like intentional call-out, is because you're moving, you're not gonna be supporting your Reinhardt anymore. Communicate that, because your Reinhardt isn't going to be able to go sicko mode if he doesn't have a fucking Reaper or an Ana, because they're trying to kill the Genji who's diving the Ana. Does that... Like, you're 100% correct. Like, that needs to be addressed. And that is going to come with time, and, like, we can start... I would like to start focusing on comms with you guys, because I think once we get the comms at least better, there will be a lot of the mistakes you guys make will stop, kind of, because like you said, if somebody simply acknowledges that they're gonna go help that monkey, or like fucking Reaper go kill that monkey, then like not everybody's gonna turn around, and you guys won't get fucking swept, because your front line will still be present and playing more safely, and like communicating your intentions, where you're going. I'm sorry, I click all the time, it's impulsive. Like, I don't really know how else to say it. Like, you basically said it all, Flower. Yeah, like literally just calling out where you're going and when you're going is fucking golden, and it will help a lot. It will prevent little mistakes like 4 people turning on the one Winston. That being said, that Winston might be a very viable target, and if everybody turns around and deletes him, then it might be a 5v6. But you run the risk of getting rolled.
Just a random thing to point out. I know our last scrim, like we tied, but they kind of beat us a couple times. The person who was watching it, the top 10 person, was like, "Oh, they're just running like the meta comp. Like you're so unfavored to win this matchup just based on them running the meta comp to begin with. I'm gonna be really surprised if you win this match." Is like what he would say every time I like started up one of them.
Yeah.
So just as an FYI, like part of the reason we were having such a hard time is because Somber Reaper fucking sucks.
Oh yeah.
to play against.
Somber Reaper is
like,
actually fucking
meta,
insane.
You kind of have to play Somber Reaper to beat Somber Reaper, which is a problem.
Yeah.
But sorry.
It's all good. So does anybody have anything that they would like to talk about? Because if not, then I would like to kind of show you guys some of the comms. I know some of you have seen these already, some of you haven't, but it's just little snippets of the pro, quote-unquote pro comms. This is back when the L.A Gladiators were really good.
Birdring's on their team now.
Bird-
They are good.
Oh, you're right. Cool. Let's go.
Insane song.
Can you guys hear?
YMCA. No.
Yeah,
kinda quiet.
We can hear.
It's the YMCA.
No, it's bothering me so much.
So there are the
It's not
subtitles there.
YMCA is one. It's the name of their song.
Yeah. That's them.
YMCA.
So you can see that, like, even when shit is going on, well, like, stuff's not going on right now, but, like,
Backstreet Boys.
they do chill and, like, they do relax
That
there.
was like the first thing that came into my mind. Then I was like, no, it's in sync.
No, it's Linkin Park.
No. What the fuck? It's not trolling Hadation. Wait, Tim, are you there?
Yeah.
What was the name of the band that has the song called YMCA?
I don't know.
Well, Google right now.
I think it's the Village. Yeah,
You guys were so wrong with like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
That was the side, right?
and Linkin Park.
She said Linkin
He was a
Park.
strong level, dude.
It was good guesses.
Oh, it wasn't.
It was good
Oh,
guesses.
Why?
It's my first
And
What's going on?
Oh, we win! Oh!
No, 0-0.
Oh!
We don't win. We need map score.
Oh!
Where's my water bottle? Are you serious?
They'll eventually get to actual game shit, I promise.
You bubble!
They just like to show how quirky and relatable the players are.
I only pretending. Yeah, no, I pretend.
We got a sub though, sure for subbing in for Boyd. Actually,
Ah, 5 games.
Oh wow, this is the thing that I just remembered. Right.
I'm giving you the authentic crowd experience.
What's up? What's up? The crowd is being very loud today.
They're a team of the day.
Are we?
Yeah. That's why we have fan signing.
That's why we had the video thing as well.
Yeah.
That's why we had the insane walkouts.
This guy pays no attention.
No, I didn't know a team of the day means that your fans. Perception level is very low. I lack the critical information. Yes, it does. I lacked. I don't lack.
Yeah, you cheating?
No, what?
Bro, what the fuck?
Good comms, people.
Fun. Hang boogie.
You cheat, teacher.
Literally the last thing they show is actual fucking gameplay.
Mercy.
Mercy, 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 mercy.
Kill ball, go. Hog first. Kill ball. Ball is coming.
Ball.
Nice hook.
Ball one.
Real GG. Nice. Real GG.
Wow, that's actually it. Get the fuck out of here. I know there's
That
a
was
better one.
Definitely not the one you showed us before.
Nah, I don't know where the one is that I showed you
While we're
guys.
finding that, sorry, two more things.
Yeah, go for it.
I think this isn't directly related to one of those things, but I think it's good. You can say when someone does something good, right? Like they did that there. If it's short like that, like
Yeah.
like great grab, right? Like I think that's like
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like don't.
more encouraging in those moments. It doesn't have to be like, well, that's not relevant information.
Yeah.
Flower, how dare you come in here with this positivity? We will have none of that shit. How dare you? Woo?
Yeah, who the fuck does that?
Been a while since our last time playing an online
And then
match.
the other thing too is just a general thing. This is sort of a call out, but a coordination thing that I think will help a lot is sleep countdowns. We don't do that, and I think we could. Right? So when someone
What do you
slept, we can say Reaper slept behind, and then we'll say like, okay, coming back, and then count down 3, 2, 1, and everyone hits them. Like I think that's the thing that sometimes doesn't happen when we get a good sleep off, when we're like missing an opportunity to just kill a hero. So if someone's like incapacitated in some way, we can. I think it's pretty sleep specific, but it's just one thing to call out that I've seen like at higher levels people do, and it works really well.
Gee, I put that in our thing, in our list.
But like specifically the
Do. Yeah, I got the count. I put sleep kill in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, okay.
It's
Sorry.
1,
I thought you
2,
guys
3.
had it in the list.
No.
1, 2, 3. Do we go on 3? Do we go on shoot?
I
don't know.
I hate it, dude. I swear to God, if you say that,
Sleep count on 6.
I'm literally gonna leave. Like, dude, if you do shit like that, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm leaving. Bye.
Oh,
I just want to see gameplay, bro. I actually can't fucking find it.
You're looking in the wrong season. They started doing more hashtag relatable shit in second season. So look for really old ones.
That's an old one.
If it has a G in the thumbnail, you're not, yeah.
Oh.
It was
Defeating
the Dynasty. Defeating the Dynasty. I think that's the one.
Yeah.
And it was the Anubis.
Mic check,
No.
Fucking Big Goose. I think he retired this year, actually. So sad.
Yeah, him and Chaz did.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Look at how young Surefour looks.
wow! They have
Alright.
that guy.
Yeah, we're gonna... Alright, let's pay attention to this stuff.
Clear comms?
Yeah, just remember that, okay?
I'm backing.
I'm just breaking shield.
Yeah.
Hog one.
Targets.
Where's the one?
We don't send their main. They're pushing our candles.
Yeah, jump right on main.
I'm kidding, we don't.
I need a bind. I'm okay.
We don't one. We don't dead. We can point.
Joker dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone, hold the point.
Hold point.
I hooked her.
I'm rushing.
I canceled the ult. I canceled the ult.
Rush right.
Yeah, I'm rushing.
Sorry, low.
Kill Zarya.
Kill Zarya.
No shield. I have hook in a second.
Here. Help fixer. Go back. We can point.
Shoot her.
Yeah, big center.
Nice.
Kill Ryan.
Kill Zarya. No,
Nice.
Kill Diva.
Yeah.
Run half.
Ryan. Kill Ryan.
One.
Yeah. But still above.
No, rush.
I'm speeding.
Yeah, do you have energy?
Nice. Nice.
Yoink.
Okay. So...
I remember this.
Me too. So, the things I want to basically, like, point out is at the very beginning here is the call out that the alt was stopped, because that's a fucking huge one. Because, like, if people are hearing, like, the fire barrage or, like, any alt going off, then, like, they're going to react to it, of course. But, like, if you can confirm that you have stopped that threat, then, like, it's just like communicating that you've slept a bob and shit. Like, it's important information. And then, like, listen to the comms as they swap targets. They just call for kill whoever, and then it's just repeating that person's name until they're dead, and then kill whoever, rinse and repeat.
I canceled the ult. Rush right. Yeah, I'm rushing. Kill Zarya. No shield. I have hook.
I want to mention that, like, they were calling to kill the Reinhardt, and then they, like, changed that because the Zarya got caught out a little bit there. So then they focused the Zarya down instead.
Rush right. Yeah, I'm rushing. Kill Zarya. No shield. I have hook in a second.
The call out for the hook in 1 second.
Nice. Kill Zarya. No, Kill Diva. Run half.
Kill Ryan.
One.
But still above.
No, rush.
I'm speeding.
Yeah, do you have energy?
Nice hook, dude. Nice.
Yoink.
Okay, come back. Go check. They have default.
I'll tell you when to tire. You can kill Zarya. She has no shield. Tire. She's trapped main.
Kill Ryan.
You can kill Zarya. She has no...
Yeah. So that's a fucking huge...
Charge just to make sure.
Yeah. Listen, Fissure is fucking so aggressive, dude.
Ugh.
Like...
We were hearing.
Heard that call and was like, got it.
Yeah. But yeah, so the main two people we're hearing are Big Goose, their Lucio player, and Surefour, their Road Dogg player. They're like the primary two shot callers in this, and like they basically just like alternate shit. So like call downs get called out, Surefour like calls who to target, Big Goose will call who to target, and like at the end of the day, like they acknowledge that like in the earlier example, the Reinhardt wasn't the prime target anymore. So, like, yes, the Reinhardt was half, but the Zarya was still going to be an easier kill. So they went for the Zarya instead. Just because you say...
It's also like a prioritization level, right? Like, Zarya is probably one of the highest priority targets in the entire game.
Yeah.
When you can.
100%.
Leave her alive, the lower percentage you have of winning the team fight.
Yeah.
Same with Sim.
Yeah, I'm rushing. Kill Zarya. Kill Zarya. No shield. I have hook in a second.
Sorry. Fuck. Okay, I just want to kind of point out that, like, one of the big reasons, as well as, like, Zarya being a fucking, like, high priority target, is that, like, look at the location of where their team is right now. Like, their Reinhardt standing with his shield up. Can you guys see my fucking mouse? You can't. Okay. Oh, you can? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So Reinhardt is standing with his shield, like, right here. And, like, the entire team is, like, on this side. So they literally can't put damage into Reinhardt because he still has his shield. But the Zarya has no fucking cooldowns at that point and can't get behind the Reinhardt shield fast enough. So, like, that's a huge reason why they probably, like, called that. Because, like, if everybody was on, like, this side, then, like, people would have been able to shoot into the Reinhardt. Potentially been able to shoot into the Reinhardt's back. That was a sad missed hook, by the way. But yeah, like, as soon as the D.Va leaves, they're like, alright, fuck you, Reinhardt. That was actually, fuck, I love that hook, dude. I'd just like to point out that they call alt check and, like, immediately start going into the conversation. And, like, it's not just Big Goose, their Lucio, who's the one, like, doing the alts. He's just starting the conversation. So replace Big Goose with Moon, and that's our team.
I am Big Goose.
Exactly, Moon is Big Goose, except Moon doesn't play Lucio.
Can I be Big Goose? I want to be Big Goose.
You can be
100%.
Yes!
I'll be Shaz.
Yeah, let's do it.
So then, literally at that point, the only fucking call was to rush. And, like, everybody's just like, fuck yeah. Also, I miss Miro, by the way. He was a really good tank.
I miss you.
Yeah,
And then
I think that's one thing that we didn't maybe touch on as much.
Yeah.
This concept that, like, target prioritization becomes less important the more advantage you have.
Yeah, oh, 100%.
Right?
Like,
so, like, if we're trying to kill the first person, we need to prioritize targets. But, like,
yeah.
If they have 3 people, it's a 63, just fucking go nuts and it'll be fine.
That's actually very important. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, 100%. Like, if you have an advantage on a person and, like, or, like, there's a very, very obvious target, then simply not fucking calling it is perfectly fine. Like, as we are learning, I would like us to call it as best we can, but, like, at the end of the day, like, if there's a Widowmaker standing 2 feet in front of your Reinhardt shooting into his shield, kill that Widowmaker. You don't need to call that. Like, that Widowmaker will die. Okay? And yeah, like, if you have an advantage, like, the team is backing up and shit, then, like, by all means, calling to just go fucking sicko is cool. But, like, you have to realize when you need to call targets again, which is, like, what they realized here, is that, like, as they were pressing this advantage, they weren't getting picks, and then they eventually needed to focus up. Because at this point, their spawn is, like, right there. So they're going to be 6 really quick. So now's the time to focus. Like, you can definitely push them back, but you gotta refocus eventually. And then look at that. They got the advantage and killed the Reinhardt, and then, like, immediately left. Because at this point, they know that they're gonna get an extra, like, fucking, I think it's 10 seconds off the clock, simply by killing him. And, like, because they have the spawn advantage, they don't super want to stay there for too long. They also probably assume that they have a couple ults, I don't like. I'm not there, so. Fucking Fisher. Pay attention to this.
Blank heart.
Yeah.
This is the point when Soul should have been asking where the fuck is the Reinhardt.
Yeah, exactly.
Good job, guys. Basically. Rush, go, rush. Reaver one, Ryan one on point, Ryan one. Yeah, watch out. Like that, watch out. Legal point, watch out, Shader. Point, kill Reaper. Reaper no. Kill right there, Ryan one. Watch out, Shader, watch out. Tire on me. It's one shot. Tire low. It's low. I'm dead. Win this. Kill one. Run assault. Yeah, line up. Yeah, run assault. I got Zarya one. I'm mounting.
Oh.
I'm on Zarya. Watch out, run out. Run behind. Don't have all. Yeah. Back. Beanie, win this. Coming back. I'm on Vora. Yeah. Kill Mara. Kill Ryan. Kill Ryan. Ryan one. Win this. Run right low. Nice job. Oh, insane.
What does witness mean? Why do they keep saying that?
Witness me? I have no idea.
I think they're saying win this, but
Oh.
also might just
Yeah, he was saying win this.
Although we can just definitely go.
Hmm?
I think it's another way for saying winnable.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were saying witness, and I was like,
Yeah, so because
that is like a statement that people say.
yeah,
Me, but-
because Big Goose dropped his beat.
Wait. Moon, have you never seen Mad Max Fury Road?
No.
Oh my Atlanta, I might go die now.
But yeah.
Anyway, there's like a thing of cultists who, your whole goal is to die and go to Valhalla, so they say witness me. That's another reference. Anyway.
But yeah, because Big Goose is dropping beat and committing it, like they need the aggression at that point. So like win this is basically like push in. We fucking like we're committing to this.
Oh.
Mounting. Yeah. I'm on Zarya. Watch out, run out. Run behind. Don't have all. Yeah. Back. Beanie, win this. Coming back.
See, it. Okay.
Kill Mara.
Yeah.
Kill Ryan.
It sounds like
Ryan.
witness.
Ryan one. Win this. Right low. Nice job. Oh, insane. Fucking J-Crat. Okay, focus up. Nice, Fisher. Nice. Fucking crazy. Coordination and team play, and we got this. Yep. Suffer for the next 2 rounds. Yeah. Okay, win number. Winnable. Okay, everyone. Nice. Look, careful for barrage up top. Yeah. I'm looking for barrage. Let's go there. Let's go our main. Healers on our main. Monkey low. Monkey blue. Kill monkey blue. Fish hack the point. Ring point. Everyone. Diva point. Go there. I'm with you. Parry beat. Everyone ring point. Monkey one. Pharaoh one lobby. Mercy one there lobby.
It doesn't even sound like they're saying anything anymore.
Yeah, so there was so much shit going on there. But like if we were to isolate your comms, like when they get hyper and shit, then like you guys would sound the exact same. And like we have to figure that like this is like the map and the point that wins them the like Overwatch thing, or helps them beat fucking
matchup.
Soul. Yeah, fuck.
It won the matches.
Yeah.
Also reminds me of one thing in comms that
Yeah.
I think I need to work on a lot of these, but this is one that I'm particularly trying to work on.
Mhm.
Is it's fine to ask if people have abilities or if they can do something or whatever, but it's not something where like it's even if you're like main tank or whatever, your job isn't to like tell people how to play.
Yeah.
And it's important that we get that distinction right. Like, do we have sleep is better than like, sleep the Bob right now, right? Like,
yeah, definitely don't micromanage each other, because that's easily where people will start tilting.
I do this a lot, which we'll get into with like the projectors thing or whatever, but like I think that it's saying do we have bubble instead of I'm pushing bubble me is a better way to go about that.
Yeah.
Also, like Zarya is the one who's supposed to be determined who pushes. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll go over that stuff. I do want to watch this fight one more time, and we are going to slow it down. We can isolate stuff a little bit more.
Let's go there. Let's go our main. Let's go our main. Healers on our main. Healers are on our main. Monkey low. Monkey low. Monkey blue. Kill monkey.
Also, I have no idea what monkey blue means.
Purple.
But the purple call gets called after. So like.
Is it they say monkey blue or
No
they
one
say
has
monkey low?
ammo.
Yeah, no one has ammo.
I thought it was low. I thought they were saying monkey low. Monkey low.
I have no idea.
Healers on our main. Healers are on our main. Monkey low. Monkey low. Monkey blue.
Yeah, that's low.
It goes
Yeah,
like
he
monkey
said
low,
monkey
monkey.
low, and then he said monkey blue.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah. They don't have
Anything.
Maybe it was-
Wait.
I don't know, man. Whatever.
We'll just go with the flow.
Probably some terrible blue ball reference. Like he's low and he's been low for too long.
Yeah. They're extra as fuck. But
I guess the stream's done.
oh, sorry. I meant to change screen. We're just going back to this. Yeah. Like, so we got a good example, a decent example, like what the call-outs sound like there. If I can find the Team Canada, like, full game's worth, like, I will definitely post it. I just don't remember where I saw it. However, so just to kind of go over what we have already talked about today, because, well, I don't really have anything else to say unless you guys do, is, so we have the importance of what exactly is being called, what we're looking to call, and that is enemy positions, enemy cooldowns, the difference of half and one, which is important. Target priority is one that we have to work on. You guys are good with team abilities. Team ailment is something that we're going to want to work on as well. Intention callouts, you guys are actually quite good at that. Alts will come with time and general effort, enemy swaps, and the status of the team right now. So what we're going to be working on in the future is, in the near future, is going to be target priority as a fucking big one. And we'll, like, given time, alts will come. I think that doing the tracking your role will help a lot. With that, we just need to get in the habit of actually acknowledging that the enemy does in fact have alts. Who we have making these calls in a traditional or in a like quote unquote the usual is going to be Ari. Clearing comms, pathing is going to be the tanks. Aggression level is going to be the tank and the main support, having a little bit of a back and forth there. Again, like, keep it short, keep it sweet. I don't want, well, if I take 16 steps forward, then you have 12 shots left in your gun. That's one shot for each step. I don't want to hear that bullshit. I know I don't need to talk. I know I don't need to mention that, but, like, keep it short. Target priority. Like I said, we're gonna work on that. It's gonna be largely the tanks, since they are the front line, or the DPS, depending on the alt, or the fucking comp, sorry. Alt planning. Jade is gonna kind of take the lead on that. Moon, you're gonna start that discussion. Enemy abilities is going to be everybody. We are going to do frickin', what is it? Call the target an enemy. That's just something that we need to do.
Call to target an enemy.
Yeah, so calling to target an enemy rather than... This isn't going to be like...
Oh, okay. Actually,
Yeah,
I
so
get,
rather than...
First it didn't make any sense.
Sorry. So rather than saying Genji no deflect, like, you're going to have to specify an informational call from a target call. I don't know why I put that in quotes, actually.
Genji no deflect. Kill him.
Yeah. Kill him.
Kill him.
Genji no, if you're
Kill
gonna say
him
kill,
calls.
you probably should say Genji no deflect on point, kill him. Or left. Or whatever.
Yeah. Kill him calls rather than... calls different than info calls. Different than ability/location calls. Yep, there we go. That took a long time.
We got there.
Perfect. One person making a stupid decision is a throw, 2 is a plan, 6 people making a stupid decision is a strategy, Warden 2020. We have the call-out examples. This isn't really, like, examples at the very bottom here. I just didn't know what to caption this one.
Key points. Key points.
Sure. Keynote.
P.S.
Keynote. Keynote.
XOXO.
No.
I'm gonna just say keynote uwu, please. Thank you.
Alright, do you want it bolded?
Keynote uwu.
Oh,
Yes, please bold the uwu. It is important that it is bolded.
Okay. Keynote.
Also,
Keynotes.
I'm always like remembering shit while I'm thinking about it. But
Yeah.
Another, I think we were sort of talking on it earlier of this idea of like having someone assigned to go do something. But there will be times where they're not assigned, and so I think it's okay with the echoing of being like, so we might say, Widow top right, and then the like Doomfist might say, I'm going up there, or I'm on it. Like just if you're changing, like an important call out is if you're changing what your normal expected position would be in a general team fight or in what we're normally already doing, letting people know you're doing that, right? So if you're going on an adventure, be like, I'm going after that Widow, and I think that'll also help because then instead of the whole team turning, we know somebody is going to do it, and we have recognition that someone's going to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do the keynotes woo section make sense? So it's keynotes for comms. Short and sweet, echoing important calls. Let the team know if you're going to do something important. Example, position change mid-fight. Acknowledge calls that pertain to you. So like, if you're a fucking Genji and Reinhardt's asking for healing, I better not hear you say no. Okay, cool. Just wanted to get that out there.
I had to think about that for a second. I was like, wait.
Okay. The multiple size fonts of this upsets me. There. Okay,
I
so
like it. I'm here for the chaos.
Come
on.
You're right.
Warden.
Suggestion,
Yeah.
clear comms might need to be delegated to other people too, because I'm not going to be in every game.
True. Okay.
How about
Where did you
I take it back. I take it back. I take it back. Please stop, Warden.
I also think that's one of the ones that like anyone can kind of say.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
target,
Yeah.
Because it's like target priority, pathing. I'll check like these things. It's bad when you have conflicting people saying something or choosing different things, but like, it's not like you're gonna have like. If 2 people say clear comms, it's not like, damn it, now we don't know what to do.
Yeah. 2 negatives make a positive. We get to keep talking.
Just start screaming.
Do that weird, like, inhale scream thing that all the fucking terrible boys do in fucking comp, please.
Pterodactyl screech.
It's so fucking sad that everyone knows what that is.
Okay, guys. So, before we call it a night, does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything we went over? Like I said, we are going to work with this shit. It's not going to be a you wake up tomorrow and you're the best, but we're going to get you better.
I'm gonna play quick play. Anybody want to join? We can practice the shit we just talked about.
I highly suggest if you guys are available to play a little bit. Tanks, you're mine for the next hour. Exactly.
Oh, come on.
Tanks belong to me.
Warden, can you make an exception? Come on, we want to practice.
Listen.
We've been struggling to find time to beat. We kind of have to do it right
Exactly.
Can I ask you a question?
Open.
Yes. Yes.
What's your question?
Hey, clear comps.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys already talked about this because I missed part of everything.
No problem.
But I wondered, did you guys talk about? Because I feel like we are a little spoiled by the scrim code, and
about the speed of making callouts and shit.
Yeah, but about the speed of making callouts and the speed of planning before we go in between like rounds and stuff like that. Like we delay for however long we want to, which is not at all always going to be available to us. And I feel like I feel like we don't necessarily have to like stop using the delay, but like I feel like it needs to be like something we work on to like.
That's a really good point,
like,
Jade.
I think we should start only adding 5 minutes, and that is it. No more time.
I feel like 5 minutes even is
So,
like a lot
here's-
of time.
It is, but like we always add like 10 minutes or more, and we just sit there.
Yes,
Like a
Flower.
suggestion, like a macro structure suggestion.
Yes.
And this is like, it's a suggestion. Like this is like you all as coaches and stuff to make that decision. But what I think would be helpful is, I think when we're going into scrims, we should be going in with an intention of doing something in that individual scrim, and rather than just like playing it out. And I think that will help a lot with this. Like we won't have to spend a bunch of time trying to like figure out our comp or like doing whatever, because we already have this idea of like we're gonna do this scrim, or we're gonna be practicing this thing this scrim. But in order to do that, I think we need to do like some sort of learning before the scrim. So like before the scrim, we're learning X comp, and then doing like, because just like we saw literally last scrim, the other team clearly learned that comp before they got to that scrim, and they played that comp on every freaking map.
Well, they also might have been practicing that for a long time, whereas we are just learning it.
No. And so it's not to say it'll make it instantly better. It's just like they're getting value out of that scrim past just like playing together, which is like what we can do in like quick play, those sort of things. But for a scrim, like we can do something practicing in particular, and then we don't have to spend so much time trying to like adjust. Like if we make micro adjustments instead of macro adjustments, because we already have like a limited field of things that we're trying to do in that moment.
So, yeah, that makes sense. Kind of, I believe what the plan was is we would take the information from the VODs and put that into scrims. However, like we can 100% like put together little plans for the scrims themselves.
I think for it to be successful, it has to be the other. Like, I think there has to be a learning, a practice, which is the scrims, and then a review of the practice, and then rinse and repeat. And I think that's how it happens. And I think we are not as much doing the learning part, which makes sense because we're still finding our structure and like doing all of that stuff. But I think what that means is that we go in and then we have a lot of trouble at the practice part because we're kind of doing different things, and we're also deciding what we're going to do while we're in the game, which is using that time instead of having already kind of a general idea of what we're doing. And then when we review, we do the learning, but then we don't necessarily practice that the next time. We actually just go on to the next thing. And I think that's sort of stagnating us and making it so that the scrims time it's like, it's time that we get to play together. We get to kind of test ourselves a little bit, but it's not time that we're necessarily like utilizing to practice as a team against another coordinated team, which is a high value thing for us to be able to do.
Yeah.
Could I offer a suggestion with that?
Yes.
Can we do a set schedule where, like, Monday nights or, like, Sundays, we have just a quick meeting of, like, hey, for half an hour, this is what we're going over for the next week or so. This is everybody's roles. Please practice them in quick play, and then we have our regular scrims throughout the week.
I think that's something we can do.
Yeah.
See, but like I feel like adding more nights might not be the answer. You know what I mean? Like
We could always just do it like
Can you
before.
communicate that like in something in chat? Like does it
Yeah.
have to be a
Yeah, it
meeting?
could be a message.
You know?
Yeah, we can do that over text.
We just have to make sure everybody reads it. Is the thing.
Right.
I mean, like, that's on you guys. Like, we tag you guys, but I don't fucking
Right,
know if you
right.
guys read it or not.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so we could do
It could be
Sunday
it
night.
couldn't be a meeting. It could be, but I'm just saying, like, if it doesn't work for everybody, for it to be a meeting, like,
You
I
have
think there's
to
other ways to
react.
communicate it.
You have to react to the tag, or you don't get to play.
I kind of actually would like that accountability.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that
Yeah.
actually sounds really good.
I also
Your team captain has spoken, so we're doing it.
Nice.
one thing to just throw out there, I think
You're welcome.
I don't think it's always going to be necessary for us to talk before, but if we're doing something we haven't done before, I do think we need to even if it means
Get a
we
little
dedicate
bit of a
not doing
rough thing.
scrim, if we don't do a scrim, like I honestly think that like what we did right now, right? We instead of playing a scrim for the last 2 hours, we talked about this thing and learned what we're doing and how to do it. We made a plan, and now we're going to practice it. We're literally doing that thing right now. And I think we can also do that with team comps, which will help us in the game to not have the kind of discord that we've had as well.
Yeah.
And so I think that we can have some of our sessions be learning sessions. Yes, we have that communication of like, hey, well, let's try dive, but it's more of like we're going to try something that we've already learned.
Right.
Yeah, the written part, the like communication in that way, that's not really, I think, where the learning should happen or the teaching should happen, as much as the confirmation of what we're going to practice is.
Right.
What if we did a text that Autumn says or Warden says, hey, we're running dive. Everybody who wants to scrim has to react to this. And then later that day, we can do just a short, even if it's just 15 minutes of, okay, this is what we're doing. Anybody have questions? That might be helpful as well.
We could even just do
gonna
that
check-
before VODs. Or not before VODs, before fucking scrims and shit.
On
The
starting-
issue I have with that is that I work until 5 and we start at 6.
Ooh.
I don't have enough time to get home and get food.
on
Like-
Starve.
starting, I just want to throw out here,
Warden, fuck off.
our goal is to get better and to be competitive.
Exactly.
Going into a scrim and having some of the times that we have been having is not forwarding our goal very much because we're not really like concentrated in what we're practicing. So if we need to like we did here, we need to give up one night, like I don't think it's reasonable for us to think that we can have a 15-minute discussion about like, all right, here's how dive works, sort of thing, and instead of like actually going through it for like a 2-hour period or whatever it might be on one of these nights, and then our next scrim being like, okay, we learned Zen Lucio dive, or we learned like this specific like brand of dive, ball dive, monkey dive, like whatever those things are, and now we're gonna practice that for this scrim or maybe the next 3 scrims or something like that.
Right.
I think is significantly more valuable to our ability to progress and get better than kind of just like going into it and trying to learn as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it'll greatly reduce people's feelings of like frustration and feelings of sort of like chaos and discord in addition to the comms thing, right? So like right now we're practicing comms, right? And I think that I don't know if we should be like diving in to a comp like sort of thing. Whatever, we need to have a couple of sessions to really get our wings under us with comms, right? But as we do it, I think having that methodical approach would mean that we get more value out of the time that we're putting in. But it does mean that some of the time we're putting in, we wouldn't be doing like what we playing, right? We would be actually learning.
Right.
But I think that's good from a structure, institutional design.
We could definitely think about doing that. We'd need to get the input of the full team since there's like not everybody's here. But that does make sense. Would anybody here have an issue with going over this stuff, like similar stuff to this, rather than what's the fucking term? Rather than scrimming?
You mean like a concentrated practice where we're gonna choose tonight to like sit down and discuss the mechanics of dive or the mechanics of,
or even go into a custom game.
I was gonna
Would
suggest.
we be actually doing it? Because if we're just gonna talk about it, I will
Yes,
definitely
because
zone
this
out
is
multiple
because
times.
yes, we would actually be doing it. I would get you guys into a custom game. I would get you guys on your heroes and shit, and we would actually like talk things through, and like I'll show you map positioning and shit like that.
So would we do that in place of a scrim and then practice that for the next like however many scrims?
So it would probably just take like one scrim a week, maybe, because I can probably run through a comp decently well in like 2 hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I think the idea of what you're saying, if I understand your question, which I kind of agree with the intention behind it, is like one scrim is not enough time to practice a brand new thing.
Mm-hmm.
And instead we could practice it for like 2 or 3 scrims, something like that. Then we have it in our repertoire to practice later when we're coordinating afterwards.
Can I offer maybe a suggestion with this?
No.
So, fuck you. No. So, I'm thinking since we're only doing a bi-weekly VOD review, maybe we do something like this. Have the scrims for like 2 weeks or whatever. Like how many, like 2, maybe 3 scrims for like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Because like you know how like so like basically like every other. Hold on, let me think of how I'm trying to work it. So, like tonight, like let's pretend this is Saturday and we're supposed to have a VOD, right? But like last week we had a VOD, so we're sitting down and doing this instead. So then
Okay, yeah.
you do what we talk about, and then the next Saturday it'll be like the VOD going over. Okay, this is actually what you did. This is how you should have done it, and then like repeat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually.
Yeah,
Like
so like
That's
so
a
like
really
a
good
moment
idea.
for
That makes sense.
adjustment, feedback and adjustment, and then redoing it again after the initial period of learning. And I think that's kind of the structure we've been on. I think it's just the initial learning part that has gotten a little shortcutted.
I think trying to learn on the fly during a scrim, something that's really brand new, is hard for a team, and that's why doing the practice in a custom lobby with just the team where we can take our time, look at the map, do this stuff. The other team's not in the chat being like, hurry up. Like those people are like 2
Yeah, we
weeks
can
ago,
answer
that would
questions
probably
and shit.
be a much more low pressure situation for the team as a whole. And I think I would learn better that way than like the high pressure environment of a scrim. The scrim is where you practice something you've already learned.
Mm-hmm.
Like you study this, you study, then the scrim is your test at school, right? You know, and then eventually when you get to a tournament, that's the finals. So like it's kind of a multi-step process, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's at least the way I see it. I mean, I just approached this from like my job for like 5 years was professional training and training design sort of things, and I think that just might be the missing element. That I can only speak for myself specifically, but that's the part that gets really frustrating is like, in addition to there being chaos and everything, I'm not even really sure what we're doing, and I sometimes will leave a scrim being like, what did we do other than get tilted there? like yeah, we got to know each other a little bit better and like work together, but we also did it in like a higher stress environment, which probably isn't the best way for us to be like building synergy anyways. And so I think that the missing piece is just like having more structure, like sort of like a course sort of deal, that once we have that initial learning done of the different comps, then we have that playbook, you know, those different things that we can do, we can start innovating on it, and we can have those much shorter conversations in text-based format of being like, let's try this dive this time. And instead of saying like, Lucio Zen, this thing dive, it's like, just dive, you know, the concept of it. We know the 6 different comps are general comps that it could be, and we go with that. But I think increasing the amount of structure at the beginning part will help a lot with reducing the amount of chaos in the middle, which will also help with our ability to have a good time and synergize with each other.
Yay!
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Like, we can absolutely do that. Does anybody here have any thing to say about anything that was just said? Or, like, any of the potential changes?
Question, would we be adding like quick play where we just go in and we're on like that jail comp for the, set period of time and we just...
I mean, like, if I actually, like, go over it with you and, like, teach you a comp that you can sit in jail on, then I don't see why not. Like, you guys, at the end of the day, if you guys go into quick play, like, on your own time, then, like, you can do whatever you want. I do suggest you guys doing that. Like, aside from the mandatory shit, quote-unquote mandatory shit that, like, Autumn and I try to get with the quick play of, like, you guys playing as a team. Like, if the tanks go in and synergize in fucking one day, or, like, the DPS want to play together and, like, playing, like, on less of a team basis, like, when you guys do play on a team basis, we could definitely...
I'm driving, so I'm sorry to bounce it, but, like, I do want to bounce off the board with that, and, like, I would like it if you guys, I know it's a lot to ask, because I know a lot of people have, like, full-time jobs and school and stuff, but, like, if you guys could, like, play more outside of me being like, hey, we're doing stuff tonight, like, even if it's not all of you, like, just be like, hey, does anyone want to play right now? And, like, literally just, you guys can at Aurora Guardians, I'm pretty sure. I don't mind you guys doing that. And, like, pinging everyone. Like, and, like, really, I encourage you all to, like, please do that, because I feel like it kind of, like, lets you guys also learn each other in, like, a non-stressful way, kind of like Warden and Flower and everyone's been saying. So, like,
Do it.
Please, for your manager.
Do it or you'll make Autumn cry.
I suppose we could do that.
Listen, I missed you guys. Like, I had some shit going on, and I fucking missed you guys. Let's play quick play and do dumb shit.
Yeah, welcome
and get to
back.
know each other better. And then actually not do dumb shit. Okay, thanks.
You mean I can't play Widowmaker? What the fuck?
Moon, you can always play Widowmaker. I will boost you. We will kill tanks.
Yes!
But yeah.